What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Bass Dad Audio TV. I'm your host, Jeff Moreland, and today we're going to be taking a closer look at the Berman's 2500.1 amplifier, a piece of car audio gear that came to me through a platform you've probably seen as they've grown in notoriety over the last couple of years. They are often all over your social media feeds. Temu, you know, the one with the tagline, "Shop like a billionaire." Temu's been getting mentioned lately, and not always for the best reasons. So let's talk about what it is, where it came from, and how it landed this amp in my hands. Temu, launched back in 2022, is owned by a company called PDD Holdings, which also runs Pinduoduo, a massive e-commerce platform in China. Their whole game is simple: cut out the middleman, connect factories directly to buyers, and sell products at prices so low they make you do a double take. And when I say low, I mean rock bottom. But as we all know, when something seems too good to be true, it often is. Temu uses some really aggressive sales tactics, and their favorite is influencer marketing. They like micro-influencers, which is, instead of dealing with guys who have made big names for themselves in the influencer community, they try to find a whole lot smaller named influencers, and then they saturate the entire market with them. They claim to pay a decent amount of commission too. Shopping there can be like a digital treasure hunt. You'll find some cool stuff and deals that seem unreal. But let's be real, there's a lot of junk too. And they're not exactly hiding it either. A lot of their products are hit or miss, and that's part of the experience. One minute you're unboxing a hidden gem, and the next you're staring at something that belongs in a dollar store garbage bin. Which brings us back to this Berman's 2500.1. I've never heard of this brand before, but on paper, the amp doesn't sound too bad. Big wattage claims, decent design, and most importantly, a price tag that might make you wonder, how is it even possible? Does it live up to the hype, or is it just another case of you get what you pay for? That's exactly what we're about to find out today. Let's get it hooked up to my dyno so we can see if this amplifier can walk the walk, or if it's just another piece of the Temu puzzle that didn't quite fit. Let's get into it.
Riding through the city with my girl right now. I'ma take her around town with the windows down. Speakers up loud, can you hear that sound? Got the rear view shaking and the windows down. Riding through the city with my girl right now. I'ma take her around town with the windows down.
First thing, let's grab some measurements. We got 2 inches tall, 17 inches across, 8 3/4 inches wide. Let's take a look at this side. We've got a 0 gauge power and ground. 0 gauge cable fits in it comfortably. 2 sets of speaker outputs, both of them 10 gauge. I wish the diagram was at the top. It's not the end of the world. We've got a power protect, no clip light. We've got a set of RCA inputs and a set of outputs for daisy chaining. Gain, low pass frequency, subsonic filter, bass boost frequency, and the 0 to 12 dB bass boost. I know we're going out of order this week, but I just got to know what's inside this amplifier. I'm worried that it may not even make it through the test. So I want to look in here and see if I even think this thing can do this. So let's take a look. All right, it actually doesn't look half bad. One dead giveaway is the FETs. You can kind of see how sloppily they're put in there. Let you know it's cheap.
Riding dirty, catch me at the trail ride. Blossom cherry, I might just let the chick ride. Cold stepper, yeah, that's who I claim to be. Dirty Mo, sergeant of the family. Little baby bad, badder than the other ones. A dirty dancer, come here, let me tell you something. I like the way you do it when you're doing what you're doing. Caught you choosing, so we grooving, line dancing to the music. Got these birds click clacking, wide open 'cause I'm drinking. I'm doing my own thing, I don't care what haters thinking. Got my boots shined up, my jeans on heavy stars. The mufflers riding dirty and we got them double bars.
Okay, I'm riding in the dually with my boots and my spurs. I've been hunting all winter.
I also wanted to go ahead and do the subwoofer test first because I'm afraid that this thing may blow up while we're testing it. That way we're sure to be able to see how it sounds on subwoofers. If you hear anything rattling or vibrating, it's definitely this table that it's on. It's one of those cheap plasticky Home Depot tables. It's not very good for subwoofers. Hopefully we'll get that fixed soon. So far so good. It looks like it's handling it pretty well. I didn't tune the amp with the DD1, I just eyeballed it. I've gotten pretty good at it. I've done it like a few hundred times, but it's still always best to use the DD1. It may be clipping a little early, but overall, the amplifier looks like it has good control of the subwoofer, and I'd have to say I'm impressed because I didn't expect to see any numbers even close to what it was rated. It's a good start. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Hit the like and subscribe button too, if you like the video. Four ohm uncertified test. 848 watts, 68% efficiency. 4 ohm dynamic, 935 watts. 2 ohm uncertified test. 1,447 watts, 71.5% efficiency. 2 ohm dynamic. 1,781 watts. I'm impressed. 1 ohm uncertified test. $21.54, 56% efficiency. 1 ohm dynamic test. Holy crap. 3,141 watts dynamic. All right, guys, what'd you think? That is what a $119 amp does or sounds like. Actually kind of impressed. It didn't make its 2,500 watt rating, but 2,200 watts is pretty good for the price. It crushed it dynamically, but we'll go by the uncertified score. 2,200 is probably around 2,000 certified. Efficiency was in the toilet, but as I always say, you know, you kind of got to look at all the factors. It's easy to get. There's a ton of them. They're readily available. Those are some of the good things. It makes enough power to warrant the cost. Some of the other things that you may want to consider about it is I didn't see the bass knob because I actually, even though this amp originally came from Temu, it was sent to me from a viewer named Arnold. I'm gonna keep his last name private just to keep him safe, but I really appreciate him for sending it. It was his idea to test this amp. I probably wouldn't have thought of it, and he said he didn't care if it blew up or anything, which I totally expected it to do. But it didn't. It actually made it through the test, and I can't say it even struggled. A couple of things to think about with this amp though is I didn't see the bass knob. I don't know if it came with one or not, but it did have like some weird little plug that looks like a headphone jack, like a 3.5 millimeter. I'm guessing that's for the bass knob, but it didn't say, and I don't really like those bass knobs like that. Again, $100 though, I could probably put up with it, but I don't even really know that it has one. Another thing, it's got Phillip head screws for the terminals, which I know some amps do. It's not common. Usually they end up getting stripped out, at least in my experience. I'm a lot more careful than I used to be when I was younger, so maybe these wouldn't get stripped out, but I just prefer the good old Allen wrenches. I did want to mention my voltage. I know last week, I think I had some people ask me to turn it down. I said I couldn't. What I did was I just turned off all the power supplies and kind of let the batteries die a little bit to get us down a little bit, because I knew that this amp wouldn't really need the power supplies. So that's why the voltage is a little less. Normally though, I do have to run around 15.5 because I'm running LTO skibs, and that's where they want to be. It had some kind of funky plastic potentiometers, and it just kind of speaks towards the build quality, even though I'd probably say the build quality was better than maybe a tar amp's. Potentiometers turned well, it just were made of plastic, and it had these, again, funky little Phillips head things in them to turn. I really couldn't get a Phillips head in there to turn them. I still had to use a flathead. Not a huge fan of those. Again, for $100 though, can't really say much, man. It did well. I would definitely use it. It sounded good too, and that's the kicker, is it actually sounded good. It sounded better than a lot of full bridge amps that I've heard. Like the filters on it sounded pretty decent. So, I mean, you guys saw it controlling the subwoofer. What do you think, man? My biggest thing would be longevity. I took some snapshots of the inside of it and I sent it to some friends of mine who actively work in like amplifier repair. Right now, they've been doing it for years, but they actively make all of their money from doing amplifier repair. Two different guys. Both of them knew right away that it was a cheaper amplifier. One of them recognized it from another brand called a Mr. Music Man, which I'd never heard of. So this guy really knows his stuff because I've never heard of that amp, and I know a pretty good amount of amps. Mr. Music Man, I did look it up, and it is the same amplifier, at least the same board and heatsink. It just says Mr. Music Man on it. If you know, like I know, you can go to Alibaba or AliExpress sometimes and get these amps, and they will put whatever you want on them. So like if you want to sell your own amps like locally, you can do that. Most people are wise to that though, and I see most companies that do that don't go real far. He said from that amplifier that, you know, there were some things that could be better on it, but for $100, you know, it's not that bad. And I gotta agree with that, man. Y'all let me know what you think. Shout out again to Mr. Arnold. Thank you for sending the amp. If any of you guys have an amp that you don't use or something you want to see get tested, I'm more than happy to do it for you. Just always understand that I am not responsible for your amplifier. If you send it to get tested, it's at your own risk. It's up to you to pay for it to get here and to get back to you, and you're doing it at your own risk. I can't say that enough. It's at your own risk. The amplifier dyno is super hard on amps, especially these cheap ones. They could blow. That's not on me. You've been warned, but I'm happy to do it for you. The more amps we can test, the more we can know. I hope you enjoyed the video. Y'all have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one.
When the sun goes